Nancy, I believe everybody is recovering from something. What do you believe that you are recovering from?
Oh, I believe the same thing. And I believe that I am recovering from childhood trauma, alcohol use disorder, depression, and ovarian cancer are the top four.
Okay. Okay. Can you help us out with share with us some of your journey through that recovery process?
Sure. Well, I grew up in an alcoholic household. So my dad was an alcoholic. My mom abused alcohol. I'm not sure if you could, if she could be labeled alcoholic. And I'm not crazy about labels, but it seems to be what helps people identify. So um, it was but I had a great childhood. I mean, other than the fact that my parents drank too much, it was pretty good. We water skied on the weekends, and we went on a family vacation every year, and life was generally pretty good. I learned how to walk on eggshells because you do that when you don't know what to expect,
Yeah.
and that happens a lot when you're um, living with people who are abusing alcohol. You don't know what to expect,
Hmm.
and so the the trauma that ensued from that um, really set me on my own path. I started drinking myself when I was in high school to fit in, and that kind of ebbed and flowed for quite a while during my late teens, early 20s, and then I started drinking more heavily in my 30s. My father died by suicide when I was 50, and that led to my drinking escalation to um, the point where I attempted suicide myself in 2009. And so that's what led up to my recovery.
Hmm.
And um, and then I got scared sober. Basically, I quit drinking, entered AA, and that started my recovery journey.
Okay. So what did your bottom look like? What did it when you finally said, okay, that led up to it? Where was the self, that talk you had with yourself?
So that my bottom, I'll throw in a trigger warning here of suicide attempt. Um,
Hmm.
I had convinced myself that everyone would be better off without me. And so I decided that the best thing to do would be to end my life. And fortunately, I was unsuccessful. And suffice it to say, the only thing that got shot was an innocent pillow on the bed. So, um,
Okay. Good.
you know,
Did you feel good enough growing up? Did you feel like you belong, or what was your thought process
oh,
growing up?
absolutely not. No, not really. I mean, when I was little, I think
Mhm.
I had some spunk. Um, but my one of my first memories was uh, I was 3 years old, and I didn't realize that I was 3 years old at the time, of course. But I had this Easter dress, and I didn't like it because I thought it made me look fat. And when I told my mom that story, she said, "But you were only 3. How?" And I don't remember her telling me that I wasn't fat. That I was beautiful just the way I was, right?
Right.
So from 3 years old, I felt like there was something wrong with me um, from that point forward, and that my body image was not what it should be, and so there was a lot of not enoughness, and I was told that I was too loud and too dramatic and too sensitive and too all those things. So um, between being not enough and too much, um, a little incongruity there. So,
So you go to recovery.
mhm.
How was that like? Where did you go, and what was that like entering recovery?
Well, I was absolutely devastated that at that point, this was in 2009, and at that point, the only other than rehab, which you know didn't figure into the picture, I really didn't know where else to go besides AA. And one of my neighbors was in recovery and a member of AA, and so she took me to my first couple meetings, and I sobbed all the way through them because I just thought, I was absolutely devastated. And I thought, well, it's come to this,
Yeah.
what else do you expect? And, I beat myself up and was full of shame. And, uh, that I had let it get to that point. And, it was hard.
Yeah.
But, AA saved my life. And I was a, a very loyal participant and for a little over, well, actually 11 years, pretty much. It I stopped going to meetings when the pandemic hit. My 11-year anniversary fell right at the beginning of the pandemic,
Hmm.
and then it just uh, kind of fizzled from there. But
Yeah.
so now my recovery community is called She Recovers, and it's an amazing organization, and I I love it so much that I've gotten my certification as a She Recovers coach, and so I do a lot with them and volunteer a lot of time with them.
Okay. Tell us about She Recovery. What is that?
She Recovers is a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit, for, well, and this is when you say we're all recovering from something, that's their tagline, is we're all recovering from something. And
Wow.
we truly believe that. And so it's not, it's probably most of the people that are in their community are recovering from substance abuse, alcohol, or drugs, but they also address trauma and grief and illness and all the things that we're all recovering from, right? we're
Hmm.
we're all recovering from something. And
Yeah.
so it's for women, non-binary, femme, um, that population who identifies with women's communities. And so
Yeah.
um, it's just magnificent. I just came off of co-facilitating a retreat for them last month in Texas, and it was just one of the most extraordinary experiences that I've had. And I can't say enough good things about them. So
Okay.
I would love for you to put the link to their website in your show notes. And
Yeah. Well, I will do. No problem with that. How do they use a 12-step format? What they
no,
use?
they don't. But what they do is they welcome all. They call it the patchwork of recovery, right? So they don't utilize any one specific, and they welcome all patchworks
Okay.
and pathways of recovery. They don't criticize any. And so, no matter where you're from, you're welcome. And
Mm,
just it's a lovely community. And
yeah.
so I you know, welcome all of your female listeners and um, people who identify with women's communities to check us out and
Yeah.
see what you think. It's lovely.
Great. Great. Um, you was talking about the you stopped going to AA during the pandemic. What
Hmm.
happened there? There's a lot of people gonna be listening there. They actually thinking about that. I'm thinking about leaving AA. What was your thought process?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble here. I don't want to step on any toes or criticize.
Yeah.
AA is an incredible program, and it has saved many, many lives, mine among them. Um, I don't know what I would have done if it had not been for them, because I don't think there was a whole lot out there when I started my recovery process.
Okay.
That being said, uh, it's it was a program that was created in the 1930s by two old white men, and uh, it's there. I understand the rules and the structures and the 12 steps and the traditions and all the things that make it the wonderful organization that it is. And yet I felt I still had that element of shame because of the anonymity of it. And
Okay.
so, like you, like your listeners, I'm recovering out loud. And
Okay.
that's not exactly, I mean, I don't know that it's frowned upon in AA. I can tell
Yeah.
my story as much as I want. I just can't tell your story. And I believe
Right.
in that, right? But
Hmm.
but I think that and maybe it's something to do with women. I don't know, but I still felt an element of, because we couldn't, or I felt like we couldn't talk about it out loud. It
Hmm.
felt like there was still that element of shame involved, and
Yeah.
that just doesn't work for me. you
Okay.
know i I wanted to be able to uh you know I want to be able to recover out loud, because if I can recover out loud, then maybe somebody else will be inspired to recover and then recover out loud themselves. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's um, kind of a responsibility myself to recover out loud.